Most riders keep adding adventure modifications on their motorcycles without understanding the whole concept of an adventure trip. In this video, I will explain what you got wrong. Welcome back. The modifications that I have, and as you can see, there are not many, have helped me to go to the end of the world and back. I'm going to use the same modifications on my next 20,000 kilometers trip around Central Asia. Will they be enough? After I have ridden it for more than 90,000 kilometers on this motorcycle with this setup, I'm very confident that they are more than enough. In the next few minutes, I will show you what exactly I have and why it works. Before I show you my motorcycle, I want you to look on two different pictures. This and this. Let's do it again. This and this. And again, this and this. The idea is the same, traveling. Same purpose, very different results. Do you know why? Because the first is based on a real need, the second is a result of pure marketing. Now, with all of this in mind, let's see what will actually work and what will only add weight and empty your wallet. I will split my modifications into 4 groups: comfort, protection, functionality and security. Let's see them one by one. The first section is comfort. I replaced the stock springs with a stiffer for my weight, because I'm 105 kilograms without any gear. The stock springs are usually designed for riders between 70 and 80 kilograms. With this conversion, I not only improved the comfort, but also the safety on the road, because now the motorcycle handles everything much better. Of course, I did the same with the shock absorber to level or to match the suspension travel. Before this conversion was very easy for me to bottom the suspension, especially when I hit a few bumps one after another. Now it's almost impossible to do it. So now this conversion did not only improve the comfort while I ride, but also reliability of the forks and the shock absorber. And this is very noticeable, especially when you ride on very hard terrain. So in my opinion, it's worth every cent of it. It costed me around 220 euros to buy the springs and a little bit more money for labor. But as I said, very well spent money. Now it is like a completely different motorcycle. The next one is heated grips. For only 100 euro you will have such a great comfort. I basically use them every time when the temperatures are below 20 degrees. 3D mesh on the seat, priceless. For only a couple of dollars you'll have wonderful comfort in any riding conditions. Cold, hot, rain, anything. Wider foot pegs. I don't need to explain you how important they are, especially if you have to spend many hours in standing position. And another one, very small, it does not really belong to comfort, but it is very useful. These small air bladers that are mounted on the top of the forks, and they used to let the air that is compressed in the forks. By pressing this here, you actually release the pressure from the forks, and this helps keep them in good condition. Something very important, every time when you want to press this and release the air from the forks, it should be on the center stand without any weight or pressure on the forks. The next group is protection, and the very first that I added on my motorcycle was the bush plate. It is something very important, especially if you plan to have some off-road trips. On this model, the oil filter is exposed to the front part of the motorcycle, and if you don't have a good bush plate, you may destroy it. The one that it comes as a stock, it's good enough for 95% of the riders, but I just prefer to have something stronger. A series crash guards were the next that I installed. These are from a service. The model is X Factor. They are very strong with aluminum frame here, and they do not only protect your levers from damaging, but also they protect from the wind, cold and rainy days. The next modification is completely free. I cut the end of my clutch and brake levers. This will not only give me the comfort that I need when I want to work with only 2 fingers here. I can grab the grip and use 2 fingers, which is basically impossible with longer levers, but also it will eliminate the possibility to break if I drop the motorcycle. Even when you have handguards, you might have a situation to break your levers, but now without the end part it's almost impossible. And as I said, it is free, it costs nothing. Ténéré 700 is famous with this soft bracket here. The original exhaust is mounted here, and if you drop it on the side, this bracket just moved and the exhaust touching the swing arm. This is not good, that's why I replaced it with a different muffler. And now it's protected from that side, and it doesn't matter how many times I'm gonna drop it on this side, everything will break, but not the exhaust. After I broke a number of indicators, now I have this basically impossible to break from hammer LEDs. Wonderful quality, I'm very pleased with them. Look at this, you basically cannot break them. I also have a different tail that have now 2 different positions, like this, if you go off-road, and like this if you go on the road. Also the number plate is removable, but just removing 2 pins on the side, you can have it in your backpack. Great quality, and I'm very happy with this brake pedal wire. This cost me nothing, and if you don't know about what it is, it's prevent branches to go between the bush plate and your brake pedal, because it might lock your rear brake just like that. It happened to me in the past, that's why I always have this on my motorcycles. Chain guide protector, this is also prevent problems with branches. If the wooden stick or any other branch go between the chain and the sprocket, it might remove the chain from the sprocket. This is really helpful item. Again, it's cost very little, but great protection. I also wired all the pins that I have on my brake calipers, because if you lose this pin, it's gonna be very difficult to find something similar, especially while you're on the road. The same here with the front. The next group is functionality, and the first that I have is center stand. I understand that it adds 3-4 additional kilograms on my motorcycle, but at least they are on the bottom part, and this item is priceless. Every day when you need to spray your chain, you use it. Every time when I want to load my motorcycle, I use it. So for me, this is important part. Of course, you can go without it. It just provides this functionality that I am looking for. I also have K&N filter plus pre-filter. Great combination. You can see how dirty it is after only 1 month of riding. Without this, all will go to the K&N filter and of course to the engine. These 2 things, the pre-filter and the K&N filter, I can wash anytime on the road, lube it and put it back again, so I don't need to worry about a spare air filter. You might say that this is not a big deal because you can always change it when the time comes, but when you're on a very long trip, this matters. Because basically every 10 or 15,000 kilometers you have to change it. For example, on my trip to Magadan, that was almost 40,000 kilometers, 39,000 exactly, I should have changed the air filter 3 times. Neoprene socks, priceless. After I got them on my old Ténéré and then on this model as well, I never had any problems with leaking forks. I have heard people saying that they are bad because your forks might rust or stuff like that, they holding the water. This is absolutely nonsense. The water dries very quickly from them, they are from synthetic material, but what they do, they protect a mud sticking around your fork, because the mud that is dry on your forks actually destroying the dust and the oil seals of your fork. So buy them and you will never regret. This toolbox I recently added on my motorcycle. I tested on one short trip to Croatia and back, and now I'm gonna test it on very long trip. It holds all of my tools, everything that I need on the road, plus 3 sets of rear brake pads and 1 set of front brake pads. Fantastic feature to have, and it stays on the motorcycle all the time, which is very important. I replaced the cover for the front sprocket with this model that is very open. I can see the condition of the sprocket, I can remove the mud or some branches if I have inside, much better option in my opinion. Handles and luggage rack. Without these things, the motorcycle is very difficult to move around. You have to grab it here underneath, but as I said, it is just not comfortable. Also, when you want to attach some kind of duffel bags, saddle bags or anything, you need a place to put your straps on. Priceless item, I like it very much. I recently mounted this CarPlay device from CarPure Right. Fantastic option to have. It replaces the old telephone that I used to have here on my dashboard. I always worry that it is not waterproof and when the rain starts I need to remove it. Now with this option everything is much better, and of course I added here a manual switch, so when I don't need it I can just turn it off. It's not gonna work with my ignition because I basically use this feature in very rare situation when I need to find a specific address. I also have a spare clutch cable already pre-routed under my tank and installed here. So in the case I break the clutch cable, I can replace it for less than 10 minutes. I also have this extension cable coming directly from my battery on which I can connect my air compressor and check the tire pressure or change the tires if I need it. Everything is connected, so when my luggage is on I don't need to open the seat and stuff like that. It makes the things just easier. Next section is security. I have this disc lock here, Abos Granit 68 Plus, here mount on a bracket that I made by myself. It stays always here on the rotor when I lock the motorcycle. Because it is heavy, I didn't want to keep it in my saddlebag, and also I want to have it all the time, even if I travel just like that. That's why, in my opinion, this is the best position to have it. This cable lock here, it also belongs to security. It cost me almost nothing and it is here with only one purpose. It goes around my saddlebag when it's here to protect someone to grab it just like that. And I also lock my helmet on it when I walk around. I also have this small extension on the front fender to protect the water going directly into the engine. I forgot to mention it when I was talking about it. These are basically all the modifications that I have on motorcycle. Thanks to my YouTube channel, some of them I got for free, but also many bought with my own money. Anyway, I don't think that if you have to buy all of this by yourself, you'll exceed the price of 1,000 euros. Maybe a little bit more, but more or less around these numbers. For comparison, the panniers, the top box, the navigation system and the auxiliary lights on this motorcycle will already double that price. Let's assume that money is not a problem for you. But what about the weight? In my estimations, the difference will be around 50 kilograms between my motorcycle and that model. This is basically the weight of a very fit lady passenger. You might also say that the weight is not a problem for you because you don't ride off-road only on the asphalt, but it matters there as well. In the first scenario, when you're not so heavy, you can handle it much easier in any situation. In the second, you have to fight with the motorcycle every time when it comes. For example, in traffic, when you need to make maneuvers on low speed, when you need to push the motorcycle, park the motorcycle, or maybe to lift it from the ground. It also affects braking and increase the fuel consumption. Also wear the tires faster, and in general you will compromise safety as well. And this is exactly where most riders make their biggest mistakes, not on the road, but before they leave their homes. I talk a lot about all of these things in my online course, Adventure Riding Without Illusions. It is a practical system built on real experience that helps you prevent many mistakes on the road before they even happen. Link in the description below. At the end of this video, I can tell you only two things. Adding more stuff to your motorcycle does not make you a better adventurer. It makes it heavier and compromises its reliability. The second is stop buying and start riding. I hope that this video will help you at least one person. Press like or dislike, whatever it deserves. If you subscribe, even better. See you in the next one. Ciao.